Hello once again, Niner faithful, and welcome to the season debut episode of 49ers Playbook. I'm Johnny Dell, and this is Johnny Dell's Football Academy, the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. Opening week against the Detroit Lions saw the 49ers open up a big lead by the fourth quarter, making many of us believe the game would end as a blowout. But in a series of cascading crazy events, the game ended uncomfortably close. With the departure of Robert Saleh, the 49ers defense at times struggled maintaining discipline in run assignments, but overall, through 58 minutes of football, had held Detroit to just 17 points. This was the result of good team coverage paired with an effective pass rush along with timely stops in the run game. I know many of us have been concerned over the numerous breakdowns against the run, but that topic is going to be covered in a separate video. I can't say enough how much the return of Nick Bosa and Dee Ford bolstered a 49ers unit that, for much of 2020, struggled getting consistent pressure on opposing quarterbacks. On offense, the 49ers attack was led by a strong and efficient game from quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, tough running from Elijah Mitchell, and one of the best opening day performances by a 49ers wide receiver from Deebo Samuel. Overall, the 49ers look like a team poised to make a comeback off of an awful 2020 campaign that was filled with injuries and inconsistent play from the quarterback position. All that being said, let's jump to the film to look at some key plays and examples of how the 49ers were able to come away with a win this past Sunday. Alright, on Detroit's opening drive, they decided to go for it on fourth down and got stuffed. They're going to come with heavy personnel as they bring in an extra tackle as a tight end and a second blocking tight end. We're going to match this with an over front, which moves your typical Sam backer to the weak side on the line, and then your typical D end to a 5-eye technique, and your 1 technique to a 0 technique. For the defensive call, we're going to slant the front. Detroit motions a wide receiver inside. Legendary offensive line coach Alex Gibbs would be very irritated by this. He hated motioning a receiver inside. But because this presents a wider front, Tart will now dive inside and Verrett is now in position to be the outside contain. Detroit is going to run an inside dive. The idea is you'll get a double team block able to open up just enough of a hole to get the first down yardage. At the snap, you can see how the slant interrupts Detroit's play. The tackle believes Bosa will be attacking outside, so he aims to get to Greenlaw or to help on the 3 technique, and Bosa proves to be too much for the extra tackle to reach block, especially with Tart helping, who also proves too much for the receiver to reach block. Kerr did a nice job of standing the center up, holding the point of attack, and with the penetration disrupting the play, the 49ers were able to put an end to Detroit's first drive of the game. After a mishandled snap, Detroit is faced with 3rd and long after a great play by Al-Shaair on a screen. The Lions come out in a bunch formation and are going to run a drive plus mesh concept. The drive concept looks to put the weak side hook curl defender in a vertical stretch. You see Ward maintaining his discipline and situational awareness by not jumping on the drive route, and Fred Warner anticipated the deep in by seeing the drive as well, and squeezes the middle of the field. With good pressure from Dee Ford, Goff is forced to get rid of the ball for an incomplete pass. This ends up becoming important in the game because it forces a long field goal try that ends with a miss. So now we'll jump to the offensive side of the ball. From the opening drive, San Francisco was able to establish the heart of the offense, the wide zone. When executed properly, the wide zone becomes a symphony of run blocking that puts incredible strain on the defense. One of the most important elements of the wide zone is a good, quick center. This year, the 49ers picked up Alex Mack, and he made a huge difference to the offensive line. The wide zone looks to stretch the defense and open up a gap. To defeat it, the defense has to try and maintain their gaps while on the move. If one guy gets out of their lane, it opens up a hole for the offense, and the faster your running back and center are, the harder this is on a defense, which we'll get to in a second. We come out in 22 personnel with 2 backs and 2 tight ends, showing a strong formation to the left, and then first shift Juszczyk, then motion Ross Dwelly, which by the snap will have changed the strength of the formation. Juszczyk will kick out the end, and McGlinchey and Brunskill will work a combo block, with McGlinchey moving to the second level. Tomlinson has a key block here as he has to reach block the one technique. Trent Williams and George Kittle will work a combo, with Kittle executing a reach concept and Williams working to the second level. This is where the center becomes so important. If every other block is executed correctly, this puts an easy read for the running back on the linebacker. Whichever side he attacks, you go the opposite. It happens really fast, but the more your center and running back are in sync, the harder this makes it for the linebacker. Again, Alex Gibbs always taught that when run correctly, the running back and center would be together as the play went. He would say if your running back is behind the center, you need a new running back. If your center is behind the running back, you need a new center. You can see by Mostert's fourth step how in sync he and Mack are, and the linebacker was forced to choose to go over or under Mack, which opens up a gaping hole. Let's give credit to Tomlinson here as he executes this reach block perfectly. And also to Kittle and Williams for how they execute the backside. Let's also give credit to Brunskill and McGlinchey for walling down the front side. When the wide zone is executed well, it truly is a symphony of blocking. Faced with a big third down to set up the touchdown, a mix of really nice play design and decisiveness from Jimmy G help us convert to set up the first score of the game. This is where the genius of Kyle Shanahan shows. He anticipates the coverage perfectly. Detroit is going to be in cover one man and are going to double George Kittle. So Shanahan first motions Sanu across into a bunch formation. By motioning into this formation, you ensure that Sanu's man will be the farthest man off in coverage, as the defenders have to stack levels to keep from interfering with each other in coverage. From here, he's going to run an Ohio concept with Deebo and Sanu, and Ohio being the combination of a protection release fade and a quick out. The late motion into a bunch gives Sanu a 7-yard cushion to his quick out. Jimmy G sees the off coverage and starts the throw before Sanu has entered his break, which gets the ball to Sanu before the defender can close and helps convert a big third down in the game. And that led us to Trey Lance's first career touchdown pass. Here, the 49ers bring in Lance and are going to run a variation on a play we've run a lot of times. And this is a variation we've run a couple times over the past few years. We like to run this play a lot where we come out in shotgun, run a zone read fake, and then hit a receiver on a slant. Jimmy G scored a couple touchdowns to Kendrick Bourne in 2019 and 2020 on these, so it's a play that's been on film and the Lions would be aware of. By bringing in Lance, they're trying to sell the run fake even more. So we'll just run a zone read fake, trying to suck up the underneath linebackers. And like I said, our normal version would look to then hit a receiver over the middle in the vacated area by the run fake. It's one of those I know that you know that I know situations. The run fake into the pass forces the cornerback to drive on the possible quick slant by Sherfield, which allows Sherfield to put his foot in the ground and run a whip route instead, being wide open for a touchdown. So to start highlighting Deebo's big day, we'll take a look at the play that really started him off and running. After an effective first drive running the ball, we're going to run another one of our staple plays that ties into the run game. Here, we're going to run play action, and then run a variation on a dagger concept. The dagger is a combination of an inside streak with a dig or deep in. Here, the variation is that Ayuk runs a deep post. You can see how the run fake sucks up the underneath defenders. And Ayuk's deep post grabs both the middle safety and corner, getting Deebo wide open for a big gain, which leads to a score on the drive. I won't cover the big TD run by Mitchell as Brian Baldinger really has covered that well on his Twitter, so it's kind of redundant. As much as the run defense has been criticized in the game, they did come up several times with key stops. Here, 2 stops in a row led to a failed 3rd and long and forces Detroit to settle for a field goal. First, there were some things put out on Twitter about the 49ers not blitzing much, but I think sometimes those numbers are a little misleading because it doesn't always take into account blitzes when the opponent ran the ball. Here, D'Amico Ryans has a nice timed run blitz, as we're able to bring Tart off the edge and slant the line. The Lions are going to run a split zone and will look to get a combo block on Givens and a scoop block and second level work on Kerr to Warner. The timing of the blitz was perfect as Givens is able to sidestep the combo block, and Armstead is able to come inside the tackle, along with Tart off the edge. The second play, the Lions are going to try and run a wide stretch out of shotgun. Remember what I said earlier, the key to stopping these is maintaining gaps while on the move. First, Nick Bosa does a great job setting the edge by taking on both the tight end and the tackle, not letting the play get stretched out. This, mixed with a well-timed slant call, allows Kerr to penetrate up and not get scooped by the center, which blows the play up. On our next drive, we'll again hit Deebo Samuel for a big gain to set up our 3rd score of the game. Here we're going to come with another of Shanahan's favorite concepts, the pin concept, which he loves to run off of play action. The pin is a post plus in route and looks to put the middle safety in a vertical stretch. Here you see how the run fake sucks up the underneath defenders, opening up a space over the middle. When Jimmy G turns around, he sees the safety backpedaling and open his hips just slightly, so he's not in a position to drive on the dig route by Samuel, and it sets us up to take a 21-10 lead. On Detroit's next drive, Dre Greenlaw is going to break the game wide open with a pick 6. Here, Detroit is looking to horizontally stretch our defense by coming with a double in concept, paired with a deep out. The idea is that they'll stem the out route into the seam area, trying to grab our hook curl defender, and then occupy Warner with a deep in, and get Hawkinson open over the middle. This is actually a really good play by Greenlaw. We're going to be running what's called Cover 3 Mabel, the M standing for man. It's a combo coverage where the 3 receiver side will be in zone, and the single receiver will be manned up by the corner, and the curl flat, Greenlaw, is reading the release of the running back into the flat and will man up if he turns vertical. A number of things here. First, Warner doesn't bite on anything wider because he recognized pre-snap there was no threat to his area with K'Wan Williams squeezing the seam. Second, Jimmy Ward understood the single receiver was manned up by Verrett and doesn't allow himself to get moved outside. And third, Greenlaw is spying the running back. When the running back starts to leak out, he moves in that direction, which is what brought him into the passing lane. But he stays disciplined and eyes on the quarterback. All this paired with a great pass rush by D Ford forced a bad pass by Jared Goff. Even if Goff had been able to get the throw off cleanly, it's probably picked off by Jimmy Ward. There was nowhere for Goff to go as we played this pretty perfectly. This is the marriage of good coverage with a great pass rush. Next, we'll touch on the big play touchdown to Deebo Samuel. First, this is just really good all the way around. By having a corner over Kittle, they're trying to show zone, and we start out by motioning Deebo across the formation, and the corner widens. Again, this looks like zone by the movement. But Detroit gives us away at the last second. They'll bring the safety down over Kittle, and the linebacker takes a step. By the press look outside that Jimmy saw before the motion, you know this is man coverage with a blitz. Detroit will actually come with a double blast blitz, while playing man coverage behind it. It's It's at this point that Jimmy knows he's got Deebo Samuel one-on-one. At the snap, you can see the double blast coming, and on his drop back, you can see Jimmy G holding the middle safety with his eyes. He stands in and puts the ball up to give Deebo a chance. That's pretty good stuff. Recognize the disguised coverage, stand in there with poise and not panic to still look off the safety and get the ball in a place where your receiver can make a play. Let's also give big props to Jermichael Hasty for the blitz pickup, and Deebo for going out and making a play. Lastly, we'll talk about a big 3rd and 10 we convert to set up our last score of the game. Here, this shows a couple things. One, another example of how important Mac is to the offensive line. And two, one reason I'm high on Jimmy G. Detroit is going to come up and mud the look. They're going to have all these guys in the box, and you do this because it makes it harder to define the coverage and who's rushing and who's not. One thing that's so important is for the center to understand the protections and determine the assignments. At this point, you can see Mac point out the mic, or in this protection assignment, who they're not going to block. They're going to slide away from him. They're keeping a tight end in to block on the other side, and so that means with the running back going out into the flat, you only have 3 blockers versus 4 potential rushing threats. If you don't slide that way, you now only have 2 blockers versus 4 potential threats. This way, if they blitz these 4 potential threats, the 4th guy is on the quarterback. He's going to throw it hot because there's no way they can get the mic out on the running back, which is exactly what happens here. Detroit is going to come with a double B-gap blitz. The offensive line does a good job. You protect inside out. Mack, Brunskill, and McGlinchey pick up the blitz while leaving the outermost defender free. That's on Jimmy to throw it hot. He sees it and delivers a ball to Hasty for the first down. Well, there it is, Niner faithful. While the last 2 minutes of the game made many of us, myself included, a little nervous, it was still a great team win. And while it sucks to lose Verrett for the year, especially with how he was playing in this game, and Mostert as well, all we can do is hope for the team to stay healthy the rest of the way and keep stringing good performances together. There's always things to work on, so I'm going to try and put together a video showing what went wrong against the run. As always, I'll have a link in the description below if you would like to support the channel in any way, and you can always interact with me on Reddit, 49erswebzone.com in the forum section, or in the comments below. We look forward to another great game on Sunday, and so stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.